recording in two different places today. So if you see me look up and then you look down, that's what I am doing. Nice to see everybody here. Let's put this out. Okay. Woo, doggy. Oh, what's that? I thought it was a spider, but it's not. So welcome to part one of the Crystal Reiki Shamanic Initiation. I really wanted just to dive in and explain, because over the last, oh my goodness, few years, my practice has changed so much. And now I'm unrevealing what the shamanism is and what does that mean and how does this work? So I wanted to do a series. This is kind of like, I don't know how to say this, the boring part. When we're going to talk about what does shamanism mean, right? What does shamanism mean, and what is Reiki, and how does this fit together, and where do the crystals go at? Because a lot of people have questions. There's so much, going on. Well, wait a minute, I just got used to energy healing. What do you mean there's Reiki? I just got used to Reiki. What is shamanism? Isn't that like old school? What are these crystals? What do they do? What is this magical stuff all around? So we're going to dive in today and discuss. Hello, Jonathan. Hello, Bridget. Oh, that's your name's not Jonathan. I'm so sorry. First of all, let me tell you, I wish I could show you. My phone is cracked, like 1,000 pieces all across, all across 1,000 pieces. So if I'm like squinting at it, it's because I really cannot read anything on my cracked phone and I'm waiting for a new one. So I think your name is Jonathan, correct? It does not have an H in it. So don't make me blush. Sorry about that. All right, so we're going to dive in to what the crystal Reiki means. What does shamanism mean? How do you use crystals? What's this whole thing about? And again, if you see me looking down and then up, it's because I'm recording in all of these different devices around. So this is hysterical. Before I sat down and I knew I was going to give this presentation, I was going through my cards. I always draw cards because that is one of the ways that I align in with spirit and connect in. And I'm like, what am I doing? Is everything good? And I said, well, what's your advice for today? And the card that came out is the death card. And I went, ugh. But the death is the end of a cycle. And in my personal life, I am having a lot of death time right now. A lot of things were moving, and even my career is changing, and it's just a lot, right? When you have all that on your plate, even being a stay-at-home mom, and we're going through COVID and the virtual learning, there's a lot of death endings all around me. And then I said, please give me advice. What kind of advice can I have for today? And these are the shamanic medicine cards. I love these cards. These are fun. And the card that came out was the medicine wheel, which is hysterical because that's what I've been working on. That's all I've been doing is the medicine wheel. And we're going to dive into what the medicine wheel is too. So let me just take a sip and say hello again. Thank you all for being here. Yeah, Bridget. Bridget says, shiny new beginnings. I loved the death card. At first I was like, ooh, but it's very, very fitting. Very fitting. So I want to start off by saying, what is a shamanism? Because a lot of times we have, questions over, at least I did, over what a shaman is and what they do. And you may have think of, people in Peru or in other countries wearing hats and wearing, your big clothing and sitting there with your sage. And what are they doing, right? What is a shaman? What does that mean? And I've never heard of the word until I was at a retreat, which I will tell you guys about. But that was in 2018. And I went to a retreat, and the card that I pulled out said shaman. And I'm like, I'm not a shaman. And I threw it away because I was like, this isn't good. This isn't me. So I wanted to dive into how magical a shaman is, because a shaman is just a person. I shouldn't say just, never use the word just, but is a shamanism culture, It's not a religion, but shamans believe that everything and everyone is connected. So that means me and you're a spirit, I'm a spirit, we connected. The plants, the crystals, the rocks, the birds, the animals, the trees, Mother Nature, we are all connected together. And that is like the main principle of shamanism, is that we are all connected. We all need each other. One is not better than the other. I need the animals as much as they need me. I need my crystals as much as they need me. So when you're talking about shamanism, it's not something scary or freaky. It's about connectedness together. I keep hearing that I need to sage my room really quick, so I hope that you don't mind. I have it right here, but sometimes I didn't sage before we started. That's a big no-no. That's a big no-no, but when your spirit guide tells you that you need, that's funny. When you need to sage, you sage, right? You don't say, okay, in a minute. So let's just clear this space out really fast. Let me clear you out. Let me go above your head. Let me go all down you. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Let's clear out your aura. Let's clear up my aura. All right. So it's connectiveness all together. And when you are, shamans are usually have initiation like 3 different ways is how you become a shaman. Usually back in the day, this is the oldest practice ever. It's connecting them with your spirit guides, connecting them with your community. And what happens is you were initiated in like 3 different ways. Number 1 is from your community. Your community elected you to be a shaman. And people who were shamans, they go through like the dark, the muck to come up on top. Shamans connect into different dimensions, other spaces. So when you are talking about, there's parallel universes going on here, there's dead people going on here. And if a shaman, so think back in the day, we didn't have technology, we didn't have anything like that, right? So shamans can connect in with the spirit world, and then they retrieve information of how you need to heal, of where their community needs to move to, because perhaps a storm was coming or they had to hibernate or something like that. His name's Jack, by the way. Jack is in my room and he is not leaving. So what also happens is that the community would say, hey, I think that you would make a great shaman because you portray certain skills, certain intuitive gifts, right? So now this person is elected, they go in, usually they drum or they rattle, or we call that journeying, to connect in with this other space, to retrieve information, to come back and tell their community what they need. What you guys do, and the majority of us, we go into meditation. So meditation is when you're really, really quiet, or maybe you're doing a walking meditation, but you access a different plane. You're going into another dimension, all right? And you are retrieving information. So it's kind of the same thing, except in shamanism, I'm getting out my rattle, I'm getting out my drum, I am bringing it on because it puts me into this, what's it called? Like a mind state where I can just not care. Like I can drum for an hour and not realize that an hour has passed because it puts you into a meditative state. So it's almost the kind of, because some people get really turned off by the word journey, as we're going to call it. We go on journeys versus meditation. And while you're in a journey, there's even different dimensions that you can go into. There's the upper world, which is filled with angels and ascending masters. There's the middle world that we'll talk about in a second. And then there's the lower world. And you might think lower world is like scary. It's not scary. Lower world is my favorite place to be at because that is where your elves are. That's where your dragons are. That's where your spirit animals are. That's where that's my favorite place. So don't associate, which is what we normally do, lower world with, hell or things that are scary underground, because the lower world is just fantastic. Now, the middle world is very interesting. When these things all go together. When you are giving Reiki to somebody long distance, when you are giving healing energy to somebody long distance, Bridget is one of my crystal Reiki masters. She is fantastic. And when she comes on live here, she goes, okay, I'm going to bring forth her energy and I'm going to give you a reading, or I'm going to give you a healing. Now, when she's doing that, she's working in the middle world. The middle world is this world right here. So you're accessing everything that is here, right? So you can meditate on the fires in California, putting out them. And you're working in the middle world realm. Now, in this middle world realm, there's also earthbound spirits, right? They're not above, they're not below, they're right here with us. So we actually access the middle world really, really often. And in the middle world, you want to use protection or a cloak as you wander around. Just like if you're going to give Reiki, you ask for protection before you go in and give healing. So there's that difference between journeying and meditation. Hi, Julie. Hello, hello. So you're welcome, Bridget. Thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for doing your work too. So one of my favorite things of why I step more into being a shaman is because they work for our community. They bring the community together. And it's always been the biggest thing that I love to do, right? When you are trying to heal someone, you're trying to shift the world, you're trying to upgrade the world. You are working on a community level, and that's exactly what shamans do. So you may not be familiar with the word shaman, but when you think about the practices and putting them in, like, oh, I give energy healing, or I want to give energy healing, or perhaps it's, I'm psychic or intuitive. Well, let me just break it down for you. I was going to say you, but we are all intuitive. We are all psychic. We all have abilities. And I love when people call me and say, Amber, I think my child sees ghosts. And I'm like, woohoo! Because it's coming up again, right? We are opening up to receiving new experiences that are going to be coming into our world that we have shut down for a very long time. So shamanism is a person who uses their abilities, intuitive abilities, to access this information. You may do it already. So I don't want there to be any fear around the word shaman, as a lot of people are like, that's not me. What do I do with that, right? And we kind of steer away from it. So back in the day, you would be initiated from your community. Your community would say, hey, I think this is a great person who can speak to spirits or can retrieve medicinal information, or can help heal or tell us where to go, or those kind of things. Initiation from the community. Or number two, they would have a near-death experience. And then they would come back, and this opened up the portal, the gateway in between the physical world and the spiritual world. I believe that there's a huge calling right now for shamans, like everywhere across the world. So it doesn't have to be that your community picked you. Initiation. So if you are drawn to this class or doing any shamanism work, it's because your soul is being initiated for it. You already signed up for it up there before you came down here. Before you knew what you were going to do, you already signed up for it. So what happens is, a near-death experience can open up the portals a little bit easier, but we are breaking through the veils extremely easy right now, right? We definitely are. In my experience, when I started, I don't want to go completely into my work or my story, because I feel like that's kind of boring. But if you don't know me, and we are going back, so 2013, I just blacked out. Completely blacked out. I was walking and I fell over, couldn't respond. I could hear people yelling for me. 911 came, the ambulance came, they're picking me up, they're moving me. I cannot speak, move, talk. I can't do anything. I can hear, but there's no communication. And the first thing that I said when I fell over, I was like, oh, am I dead? And I heard a voice say clear as day to me, no. And I went, oh, that's good. I said, am I going to recover? And they said, yes. And when I say they, I'm talking to my spirit guides, although I wasn't aware of that at the time. So they said yes. And I said, good. If I'm not dead, I don't want to talk to you. think I'm a little bit stubborn. So I go to the ER, we're doing CT scans, we're doing MRIs, and everything comes back perfect. I'm fine, but I can't move and I can't comprehend and I can't walk. So I'm laying in bed for 3 weeks waiting for help to go to see a neurologist and go, what's happening. And I had an out of body experience. So that means my body, literally my spirit came out of my body. I saw my children. I saw my husband. I kept flying up over my roof of my house. I went up the street and I'm going up towards the end. And I had this brief thought that came through my mind that said, you need to get back to your body right now. You need to get back. Like it was an emergency. Like if I didn't get back, I was going to die. Not good. And in that thought, I start swimming back. So I'm swimming across the houses. I'm swimming down. I go into the roof. I see myself laying down. And I remember going plunging and just plunging right into my body. And after that second, when I came out of it, I shoved food down my face because I'm like, oh my God, Amber, what's wrong with you? You must be hallucinating. Like, what is wrong? So I take all these crackers and I keep shoving down. So I finally go to the neurologist. The neurologist clears me. Everything's fine. He says, go to your general practitioner, make sure you're okay. I go there and I leave with a bottle of anxiety pills. And she says, I think what you're experiencing is anxiety. And I'm like, really? Nobody knows what happened to me. But that's anxiety. So I come home and I'm Googling, things to get rid of anxiety. How do you get rid of it naturally? And I came across an energy healer that I've never seen before. And she opens up her hand chakras and she feels her aura. And I'm like, she is crazy. So of course I did the same thing. And I opened it all up and I went, that's really weird. So I called my mom and I said, can you go lay down? I go over her house, she lays down. I said, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I open up my hand chakras and I start to scan her. And all of this information just started downloading in my head. I knew things about her that my mom and I had never discussed, first boyfriends, things that were crazy. And she's like, how did you do that? I said, I really don't know. I just used my hands. So then I asked my stepmom. I called my stepmom, and my mom and my stepmom and I were all good friends. So my stepmom, I go over her house, she lays down and I start scanning her. And I feel her father, who I never met, come in. And I start telling her about her father, what he did, how he died, things that he needed to say to her. And I'm like taking my hands and I'm moving all this energy around. I am profusely sweating because I don't know what's going on up here, but I'm channeling over here. I'm moving energy over here. And then when we got done, she's like, that felt really good. Now, I have never once touched anybody and I didn't know what was going on. But word quickly got around. I bought myself a massage table on Craigslist and I started going door to door, giving these energy healings that I didn't know what I was doing. So I let everybody know. I have no idea what's going on, but everybody tells me they feel better. And I would just go at my own thing. So that's how I got into this work. And from that point of view, that is an initiation. So it's not something that I signed up and said, hey, you know what? I think I want to do this. This looks really good. It's like, I wasn't on the right track. You know what? Let me just knock Amber over so that she's laying there on the floor and she figures this stuff out herself. So that's how my work started. But that's also one of the ways to become a shaman. And I think that what happens is that we are so needed across the board that people are curious. What is shamanism? How can I help my community? How can I do other things? Aw, thanks, Bridget. So 2016, I opened up my own store because I got tired of traveling around from house to house, carrying my massage table. I carried boombox and my massage table. And I went into the crystal store one day. So that's metaphysicals, right? I went into a metaphysical shop, never been in one since my mom took me when I was 14 to learn how to read tarot cards. She said, Amber, you have gifts. I don't know what to do with it. but here, I think you need to go in here. And I left there. I only went in there once, and I left that day and I was like, Mom, I don't think I need to go in here to learn how to read tarot because I hear people all the time. So I don't see. I was 14. Everybody was like 40 years old. 40 years old, they're sitting outside, they're smoking and they're flipping over the cards. And me, I'm like, I got to learn how many cards? I'll just talk to dead people. I'm fine with that. So that part didn't work out for me. So I went back to the store because I was just called to go back, and I haven't been there in 19 years. So I go back into the store, and the store now has all of these crystals. And I walked over and I picked one up and I went, oh my God, what is this? And my hand literally started to vibrate like I've never seen vibration before. So I'm holding this rock and I was like, what is this? And I'm looking at the owner. I said, what is this trick? And he's like, the crystal likes you. You should take him home. And I thought, well, that's weird. What do you do with this rock? And he's like, you'll figure it out. So I get home and I'm staring. It was a big cluster of citrine. And I'm staring at it. And I heard, you need to start putting these rocks on people. And I thought, who's going to let me doll them up in rocks? That sounds really strange. But I went back to the store because I was called back to it. And I just grabbed like 50 other crystals. Well, I need this tumblestone and this tumblestone and this tumblestone. So you start collecting. So the thing about a shaman, one of their tools is crystals. Interesting. So I am doing all the back work, right? I'm learning everything that I need to learn before I had the proper words of what I was doing. So in 2018, when I went to the Bliss Retreat, they had the name tags, and you would put your hand in and pull out a name tag that you were called to. So it's like a big bag full of these name tags. And I put my hand in and I pulled it out and it said shaman. And I looked at Crystal, who is the founder, and I said, oh, I'm not a shaman. And I went to go put it back in. And she's like, oh, your soul chose it. And she gives it to me. And I was like, I was stuck on it because I'm like, no. I don't know anything about this. And if I don't know anything about it, it's scary. It doesn't feel right. So I get home and I'm like, I'm still stuck on this whole entire shamanism thing. My mom calls me and she says, hey, Chief is in town. So Chief is a Native American that we see. She's like, you want to go down and see him? So we go to, this little resort that has him. He comes in, he's from the Dakota tribe, North Dakota, Lakota tribe. And he comes in and he's giving the speech and we're talking, and I'm so mesmerized about what I'm learning and about the earth and connection, because that's a really big part of my life too. Like I like to save animals and I'm very food conscious, and the earth is my calling. And I realized that that's what shamanism is. So if you are called to community and assisting community, you may be a shaman, maybe calling you, ding, ding, ding. If you are really drawn to saving the world, saving the earth, saving our water, saving our humanity, that's a good one. Sorry, talking to people over here. Then you might be called in for shamanism. If you are connected to, we said the community and earth and healing, like generally, I think we're pretty good people. We're here to help evolve. So that in a nutshell comes around for what shamanism is. So to realize it's not this spooky, scary thing, because I think that's just a bad belief that I used to have, that if you haven't, I want to just explain all of that, to know that it's not really terrifying or scary, but it's not something that's common around here. So Jamie says, how do you know you're called? I believe your soul knows that you're called. You know what I mean? Like if you go, that's really interesting. Where could that lead me at? I am involved. Like I know you. So I feel like through your gardening, your connection in with land, your connection with crystals, and how magical you are as an herbalist, is that what it's called? Herbist? Medicine woman, Jamie, that's what you are. That is a branch of the shamanism that would be called to you. So yes. Okay, so the crystal Reiki. So a lot of people I feel like Reiki is the gateway drug. crystals are the gateway drug too. They get you started into all of this to think deeper and go deeper. And so crystal Reiki was introduced to me, I want to say 2014. I had all of these crystals, and then someone would say, like, oh, it was a sui. So a sui is the very popular one that everybody's attuned to. A lot of people, that's like your branch. But it's all energy healing. So we have a sui, then you might have Egyptian Reiki, fire Reiki, there's crystal Reiki, there's lots of Reikis underneath it. And I was always called to crystal Reiki because I love the crystals. So in crystal Reiki, you get certain symbols that you use that are very powerful, that break through the dimensions, that you actually put on the crystals to have a really deep healing and understanding. If I squint, I'm telling you, my phone is really, really broke. So hold on. My house is starting to look like a crystal store. Yes. Oh my goodness, that feels like mine everywhere. We're moving and I have to like wrap up all of my crystals, and it's the last thing I want to do. So I'm kind of like, oh, and my husband's like, you're on box number 6. So I understand that. And the crystals come into your life because they're your ally. And we use them in crystal Reiki. We use them in shamanism because they're not just, and I didn't understand this for the longest time. I would take a crystal and go, oh, clear quartz. Clear quartz is programmable. It can work for anything. What are you calling me here to do today? I'm just going to carry it. Like, I didn't have this deep connection with it until I really started to dive in to listening and opening up my intuitive senses and really expanding so that each and every crystal I have a personal relationship with, and they have become one of my allies, which is really, really different. So in the crystal Reiki shamanic initiation, the whole entire first week, we're learning about our soul crystal. So whatever you are learning about right now or something that you are discovering, there's going to be a crystal that's calling out to you. You know what I mean? Like, you may have this huge collection and you go into it and you look at it and there's just this one crystal that you're really, really drawn to, that your energy and that energy, they are matching on the same frequency, and you have to hold it. You have to carry it around. You have to shove it into your bra. What is that? But it's because there is an alignment, but there's so much more than just carrying it. There's understanding it, there's messages. So in the first week of class, like, you connect in with your intention. You have to learn how to align with your crystals. Sorry, somebody's at my door and they keep ringing the ring. So you have to learn how to align to your crystals, but you can do a lot more than that. The other thing that I do is I work with my spirit team, who's all around. We have Jack, we have John. We have a lot of people in here. And they can actually go into your crystals and you can work with them, and you do it through a shamanic practice too. So there's a whole another level or a lot of beauty around crystals because they're not just pretty objects. They actually do things. They're very powerful tools in the shaman toolkit. So that's, okay, I'm looking at my notes, my little cheat sheet. So crystal Reiki, that's how crystal Reiki and I got to know each other. I've attuned over 100 people online since last year. And we used to, in class here at my studio, gosh, it used to be booming before COVID. And now we haven't had any live classes yet, but I'm hoping that more of that can come around. So how does ceremony and healing transform? The thing about ceremonies, shamanism, we do rituals and we do ceremonies. And at first I was kind of hesitant because I have a huge block, all right? I'm not gonna lie. I don't love the word witch, because I don't. Because I didn't, it's not that witch is a bad thing, it's that it has a negative negative word around it for me. Like it brings up things for me that are unresolved. So because they're unresolved, I have to like really dive into that. And I thought that if I was going to do a ceremony or if I was going to do a ritual, that I was going to bring up my past life, which I just didn't want to do. Okay. So that's my issue with that word. But there's nothing wrong with that word. When I was going into shamanism and they said, Amber, you're going to be doing rituals. And I went, I don't do well with rituals. Like, this is me and my spirit team. I go, I don't do well with rituals. Okay. I am not a girl that goes by this moon and knows how to do things. You won't see me get out my spices. I was like, I don't do them. So I was very like anti-ritual for a very long time until I realized that I do rituals every single day. And then I went, oh, that was a slap in my face, right? So before like what is a ritual? Ritual is something that you do every day, like brushing your teeth. You can make that into a ritual. And then you can also add in affirmations with it. It's not, I think because there's so much negativity behind the meaning of ceremony, of ritual, of things that people don't understand, that it feels negative, right? Because you're like, oh, my husband, somebody at my door, my husband called me. If he calls me again, I gotta call him back because that means something ain't right. But I had a very negative like thought around that word. For whatever reason, it just freaked me out. When I come into my space, I sage every single day. Every day. Guess what? Ritual. Check. Herb. Check. I call in the directions. I stand in the north, south, east, and west, and I call in my team. Guess what? Ritual. Check. And then I started to realize that it's not so spooky and scary after all. So we do rituals, which are things that it doesn't have to have a negative word around it. Jamie says, ritual makes me feel confined. Like it didn't make me feel good. And I went, I don't know if I can do rituals. I don't know if I can do ceremonies and run naked out in the moon at night. Right? Because I went, where am I with this? But then I start talking to my team and they're like, Amber, you do ceremonies all the time. When you're crossing over people, right? I take my crystal Reiki, my little charger guy, and I put it down and I help my community out. I help the deceased cross into the light all the time and I Reiki them. That is a ceremony, right? Because you are releasing and letting go. It's not something that you do every day. A ceremony is something that you do from time to time to time. Or if I'm going to give somebody a healing long distance, guess what? Ceremony. It's a ceremony. It's just that the language for it is the same language that they've used for years. And now I feel more aligned, right? More comforted by doing it this way. Does that make sense? So I don't want to feel like, that it's a scary thing because it's not really a scary thing. Like, it's just not. It opens up the doors into the spiritual realm, into working with your spirit team. And that is why I like this program. So the Crystal Reiki initiation, I wanted to do something for a long time that helps your soul, that helps your spirit. You guys know that there's so many psychic development classes out there, right? How to talk to the deceased, how to open up your senses more, how to feel, how to hear. And I find that when you take a program and you do it, it comes naturally. It's not something you have to work for. It's something that as you do the 8 weeks, what happens is your senses all open. You didn't have to concentrate. You didn't have to go, I want to hear my spirit team. I want to be drawn and know who they are. It comes naturally because we are natural beings connected in with spirit. You don't have to work for it. So I haven't ever really loved doing psychic classes. Y'all know that. I don't offer them very often, but I will offer this class because it is a way for your soul to grow. And every time I do a Crystal Reiki session, somebody says, what's the next step? And it's not like I can just hand you, a pill and say, hey, Here you go, just take that and you will be fine. Because it's not. You have to go through and do all the deep work so that you can move forward. And the medicine wheel, that's the card that I picked out like a long time ago, the medicine wheel. The medicine wheel is something that you do seasonally, right? There's 4 seasons to it. So there's fall, winter, spring, and summer. And each season, you do different things, right? So this season, the fall, we are connected to your ancestors. So we're going to work with healing them because there's so much that needs, oh, I'm going to cry. Sorry. There's so much that needs to be healed. You won't even realize it. You won't realize it until you start going through that week and you pick it out and you go, oh, you know what? I do this and so does my mother. I do this and I get it from my grandmother. My grandmother, who's crossed over, is having a really hard time because she never let go of judgment. You know what? I'm going to send her healing because whatever heals you heals 7 generations back. You are here because you got a lot of work to do. Sorry, we're not here to watch TV and games every day. We're not here to just fluff around. Hi. We are here because we have major work to do. And if you knew how powerful you are, then you would really start the work right away. If you knew that you could help in the spirit world and you can help in the physical world, wouldn't you do it? Like, no brainer here. I go, okay, how can I be of service today? So the West part is working with your ancestors, especially because it's Halloween, right? And what happens during Halloween? The veil is completely thin. You have easier communication. So that week, we're going to step into healing them fully. I love it. I can't wait. It's also about the physical wellness, physical body, and getting yourself back in check, right? Because we're not detoxing. Detoxing's over in the East. We're checking to see if we're honoring ourselves. Are we self-healing? Are we taking care of our body? Are we doing the best thing that we can do for ourselves? If you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others, right? Hello. Okay. So physical body, it's ancestors, and it's also time for cutting cords and contracts. This is huge. So for example, I had a contract that said I needed to be a crystal Reiki practitioner, and that was my focus, right? And now I'm into a different contract. So when I go into my meditation, I go up to the Akashic Records and I say, hey, is it possible, because I always ask for permission, is it possible for me, is it in my highest good to go in the direction of shamanism? Can I combine shamanism and crystal Reiki together? And if the elders get my yes, okay, high five. Then guess what? We are going to put a close to one chapter in my life so I can start writing a new chapter, a new contract. Contracts are relationships. You know, that significant other that you just don't like, or maybe things aren't going well. You can end contracts, and it doesn't have to be all of the positive things. It can also be the negative things, and just the negative things, the negative experiences. Let's say you like somebody, but you're holding on to a grudge. Then we work on releasing and undoing that contract. So it's not just, that's a good one. So he also says finances, right? So finances, if you feel stuck, can't move, things are at a halt, I would check out your ancestors because things come down the DNA line. So we're going to clear out all that stuff. We're looking at contracts, looking for things that don't serve us. And we're also going to clear out our energy fields. So that means that when you are scanning yourself, you're going to literally scan yourself. And when I say that one thing that you are correcting or that one thing that you're really working on, we're going to find all of the cords that are attached to you because you don't need them, because our cords are heavy, because they're not serving us. So we cut them off and we're going to release them and send them over in a ceremony. So that is how ceremony is very transforming, and it's extremely healing, extremely healing. I've told you how many times I've went into past lives to help assist get information for me so that I can make changes now and here. Past lives that were heavy on me that I didn't realize I was holding on to fears, and transfer them over to here. It was, one of my sessions was really fun. She's in our group. Anyhow, she was laying down and I was scanning her, and she all of a sudden said, I have a fear of snakes. And I just happened to be by her past lives chakra. And all of a sudden I saw her and a tombstone. And here she is laying down, and they're throwing snakes on top of her to thank her, in like honor of her, in celebration of her. And they're piling all of these snakes on because it was like a good thing that they were doing, a good ritual that they were doing. But to her, she was freaking out. And she wasn't dead. That was the problem. She wasn't dead, and she knew that this was happening. So I explained this to her, and she's like, I have been scared of snakes forever, and I feel confined a lot. And I said, let's just release that, because you don't need that pattern coming over. So that's the other kind of work that we're going to do. My program is different from other programs. If you go to like a medicine wheel program or a shamanic initiation program, I already checked it out because I wanted to join them years ago. They are about $3,000, and it's just 1 year program, or it could be a 2-year program. And I feel like that's unreasonable. like some people don't have first of all, don't have $3,000. Some people don't have the learning expectancy for a year or 2 years. So I wanted to do something that broke up the program into 4 seasons, so that every season you're learning something new. Every season you're doing a different skill. And you're also being attuned to crystal Reiki. So we're going to use both of those elements together in this. Oh, I didn't see it. Jamie says mindset changes. Yes, and mindset changes. It's kind of like you can't keep going back and working on here, right? You have to do the spiritual connection. You have to, because our ego without spirit isn't getting anywhere. But when we combine spirit and ourselves, then it's like magic everywhere, because they want to help us. I always say that shamanism isn't just something that you take. It's not just being a practitioner and learning how to do things. Like, of course, in a practitioner way, you can, help your entities. You can do soul retrieval, which means soul retrieval just means that if you had a traumatic experience, we go back and we retrieve that part of your soul that you are missing, and we incorporate it back into your body. It doesn't mean you have to relive the experience. It basically means that you are fragmented from a traumatic experience, and we retrieve the soul back over to you so that you can feel whole again. It could be a relationship. It could be a lot of things. So that's what practitioners do. But then there's also this beautiful element of just deep soul searching. Like, I've never been excited to start this program because I want to do it for me. So I was sitting down and I'm like, and I'm going through all the ideas. And I said, Amber, what do you need to work on? Because we all need to work on something, right? And we usually do this. I need to lose 10 pounds. I need to get a better relationship. I need to get a better job. I need to do this. And I'm kind of like, ugh, that's so much. Why don't you just take a branch? So here's fall. We're going to work with the directions. We're going to call in north, south, east, and west. We're going to bring in everything together, all of our group. We're going to heal our group. Our group is going to be with us, and we work together. That just sounds a lot easier. Oh, I love that. Wait a minute. It just moved up. Griselda says shamanism is big in Mexico, my native country, but it is so misunderstood. That's why I felt like I had to really get on, hi Debbie, and do a whole entire thing about what it is and what it isn't, right? Because it's so beautiful. It's all about connectiveness, and it's about the earth, and it's about spirits being together and guided, and I love it. And yet when people say the word shamanism, it's kind of like it can be a turnoff. But I hear from some people that it's going to be extremely popular. So wait for that, because I think it's going to really spike, knowing how people can really step into this and how they can develop. So again, for the fall aspect, right? Fall is about working on ancestors, your physical well-being, cutting cords, cutting ties, making new contracts. And then we go into the winter time. And the winter time is about connecting with your spirit team. It's about really hearing them, understanding them, and receiving those messages. It's about a time for reflection. So as you can see, and what happens during the winter? We're hibernating, right? We're not moving out. We're staying in. So it's a great time to connect in with source, or with our spirit team and see what's going on. So I think, and also, so they're really strong people. Like shamans are very strong people. They are like, and they've gone through a lot. Usually they have gone through a lot of, like, they may have battled their own demons, as we may say, to get to this point of being a healer. That's initiation too. Where I met this guy who's really amazing, who wanted to end everything, and he ended up coming out on top and healing others, right, and serving the community. And that, it's about connection, it's about expansion, it's about rising everybody up together. So realize that we're all one. So I love it stuff. Did I say hi to you, Debbie? I hope I did. I hope I did. So shamanism isn't just something that you take one time. It's not something like in crystal Reiki, you take the crystal Reiki class, and I'm not putting crystal Reiki class down at all. I'm just giving an example. You take the class, right? You learn the symbols, and then you use it for healing. So that's a program. Shamanism is something that's like continuing and continuing and continuing. So when I get up in the morning, I say, okay, how can I serve you today? How can I be best? And I'm talking about source, God, almighty creator of heaven, earth, and love. How can I serve you today? Yes, you did. I am not. How can I serve you today? What can I do? Where can I be at? How can I help my community? Who needs assistance? So that way it opens up the door to be able to have this ongoing experience all the time. All the time. Oh, that's weird. Debbie, I just see your face now and I don't see any words around you. I'm like, who's that girl on my back wall? But that's just a picture of you, Deb. So I do want to ask if you guys have any questions about anything. I'm going to read you, actually, what this card of the medicine wheel says. Sorry about my nail polish. Didn't get that far today. Oh, okay. You're being called to walk the medicine way. Gather up all the little artifacts, trinkets, photos, those things that carry special meaning for you, and select the most precious. Use the items to create your own medicine bag. And that's something that we're going to be doing. We create a mesa, and we put stones in there. We're doing a lot of cool stuff. You will come into your power as one who can heal emotional wounds and help others to do the same. The medicine bag is most potent when worn around the neck, but can also be kept in the pocket, bag, attached to a belt, or somewhere within the home. The strength, guidance, and energy you can draw from it is always accessible. It is important to remember and learn from past experiences to create a brighter future. The medicine bag will help you remain calm when it has affairs of the heart. It just occurred to me that I'm not reading the medicine wheel, but I'm reading the medicine bag. Try again. Now you guys know about the medicine bag. We are making a medicine bag. Medicine wheel circles around you as you step within its sacred space and feel part of the continuation of life. Life is a circle. What goes around comes around. When you can accept this, you are more able to learn from each situation and encounter and move forward. Allow medicine wheel to cement your personal philosophy and beliefs as you offer it to prayers and intention. Medicine wheel gives you access to the energies of the 4 cardinal directions, the spirits of the land, crystals, stones, and anything else you wish to place within it. Imagine a piece of land that is sacred to you and picture yourself building a personal medicine wheel on it. One of the things that we are doing as a group is we're making a medicine wheel altar where we all go. I'm going to teach you guys how to journey, and we all journey in together, and we create a medicine wheel, and you bring objects into the wheel. And I swear to you, I will leave something in there. Like I'll leave a clear quartz crystal in there. And Debbie, if you were there, you would be able to see it. And you would say, Amber, did you just put this in there? It's really, really amazing. Thank you. Thank you. I'll make you laugh. All right, your wheel reflects your strengths and weaknesses as well as what you need to learn and gain. It is a shamanic map representing your life, a circle of awareness, and the wheel of the year. When you walk within the wheel, your direction will align with your powers of spirit. Continued balance is a part of the circle of life, and that's why you do different things every part of the year. Places of power called medicine wheel are found in diverse forms and shapes across the globe. The oldest is in Majorville, Canada, and it dates back 5,000 years old. What goes around comes around. A situation will not resolve until you act to change the outcome. A past issue needs to be readdressed. A wild goose case, as you learn from your experience, a new situation will present itself. Medicine wheel speaks, built on mountain, land, or mound, continuing to come all around. Life's a circle, walk the wheel, connect with spirit, learn and heal. Oh, that was good. Connect with spirit, learn and heal. So I want to end with, obviously a welcome and invitation. It does start September 22nd, and it's 8 weeks long. And you learn how to do different things all the time, how to connect in with your crystals. But you're not just, what did you say? Where did you go? Like, there are some amazing exercises that you work with one crystal called the soul crystal for the next 8 weeks to help you with something. For me personally, on my journey, I'm doing my health. Y'all know I got MS. So I really want to dive in deeper to help give myself a really good chance to heal in all aspects. So I'm very excited. I'm actually like more excited to be working on this than anything else, because I'm like, I know what to do, and I know the program, and I know how to go through it, and I know how powerful it is because I've been doing it for 2 years. So now I just get to teach it to all of you and have a community, which makes me feel great, knowing that when you guys work on your soul, when you work on the things that are just crappy, it makes you confront them, and it makes you change them, and it makes you look at them differently. But you're not alone. You're with spirit. And there's nothing better than y'all working together. I think I just have a funny guide. Debbie, I think I just have a funny guide over there. So, is the soul crystal one you choose, or is it a specific one? So in the first week, you get like all of these, one of the things that you do. I'm trying to think back to the first week. We learn how to make sacred space, because your space is really important. You learn how to call in the directions. And then you sit down and you take 10 to 15 minutes of doing this ritual. We're going to call it the ritual, where there's questions that I ask you that prompt you to do things. And once you narrow it down to that thing that you want to work on, or you want to discover, or maybe you want to cut out of your life, or whatever it is, then after you fill all of that, then you go out to the crystal, or you go outside and you go into the garden. Maybe there's a rock that calls you. So that is the crystal that you work with. And then we activate it. And then we bring in the spirit for it. And then we bring in your master guide for it. So I hope that helps. It is one, I should have just did a short answer. It is one that aligns with you so that you can pick your ally. You know what I mean? Like, if I was using my mental self says, go get amber to go work on health issues. And I have a beautiful piece of amber. But the piece that I've been working with is this guy. And it actually, so this crystal is one of my crystal Reiki masters. She was selling all of her crystals. And she put it on there, and I went, oh my God, you know what? Can I have that one, Beth? Can we ship it? Can you ship it over to me? And she said, yeah. So I bought this crystal from her. And then she said, Amber, that's the one that I programmed all my crystal Reiki symbols in. And I said, of course it is, because it's so healing, right? It already has the symbols. So she's been working with this crystal and healing people and putting things in it. And when I went, okay, I'm going to work on my health, where do I go? I kept going back to that crystal, and it's because it has so much healing power in it. So I'm not going to use the amber. So go with your intuition. And it's not in a book. You know what I mean? Like, I know that amber is great for health, which my mental state says that, but I'm intuitively called to use that one over there. So that's what I'm using. But sometimes I go out in the woods. I love walking in the woods, and I'll find a random rock that speaks to me. And then my husband's like, what are you doing? And I'm putting all these rocks in my book bag, and I'm like, I don't know yet, but we're going to go walk. Right. And then I get home and I talk to them, and some of them want to go back, and some of them want to be in a circle, and so I just do it. You just do it. That's what happens. You get crazy and you just talk to the spirits of the rocks, and you do whatever they want to be at. I mean, really, they're the ones that just sit there all day. That's more boring. I want to pick it up and move it. So it's the one that, hello, Laisha. Yes, you can go back. I have, my phone is like really, really cracked. I have a Lemurian quartz I have yet to connect with, and I keep being drawn to, right? So why is there resistance in with that too? That's something else that you can ask. Like, I've had this crystal for about 6 years now, and it's just not time to work with him. And I have pushed his button, and I'm like, come on, you're going to help me today. We're going to work together. I feel like I need to, but he's so not there, and it's not on my side. He's like, he has dead energy. I tried to put him in the ground. I tried saging him. I have done so much stuff. Like, I've given him so much love, and he's returning nothing because it's just not time. And I have to respect that, even though I don't want to, because he has a little rainbow in him, and I love that. I broke my favorite crystal, and I cried like I lost my best friend. Oh, Candace. You know, my crystal. You know what? I didn't even throw him away. You know my wand I just broke? Hold on, my Lemurian wand, right? I don't even know where the top is. I didn't even throw him away. I can't throw him away. Matter of fact, I walked into my room today and I went, oh, I'm so sorry. And I just held him because I felt so bad that weeks ago he broke. And I went, what can I do with that? Well, what can I do with that? So I get it. I get it. And sometimes I just hold on to them. And I actually tried using him in a session the other day. I was like, let me see. And he's like, no, wasn't working. Okay. But I kept mine too. It's in a plant. Yeah, that's what I do with them. I put my coffee grinds and my crystals in my plants because that seems to keep them motivated and alive. Coffee grinds and clear quartz, to be specific, or sometimes moss agate. That really helps too. But yeah, give them back to earth. Regenerates. Yeah, you put them outside with the elements. That's where they like to be at, right? Because that's where they belong. That's where they feel really good at. I bought this huge chunk, and it had like the clear quartz all on top, and it was like $200. It was a big price tag on this guy, and I'm looking at him, but he was so pretty. And then I asked him where he wanted to be, and he's like, the garden. And I'm like, you just want me to put you in my garden? Are you kidding me? So I did. I put him in my garden. But now we're moving, so he's not in my garden anymore. Everything's all wrapped up. So I get it. I definitely get it. You just do as the crystal asks. They talk to you. They tell you things. They work with you. They take energy, you know, like in one of my favorite sessions, I had a yellow calcite on this guy on his solar plexus. And he had his hands like on top. And I was channeling Reiki, and he was below. And all of a sudden we hear this tapping, and I'm looking around, and I was like, what the heck is that? And he goes, is that a joke? I'm like, what a joke? What's going on? And I lift my hands up, and the tumbled stone underneath was tapping his wedding band. So I kind of went, all we kept hearing is that tapping sound. And then he let go of his hands, and it broke right out because it could hold so much energy before it shook and then exploded. They're amazing, amazing beings that have come here to help us, and we're not utilizing them. So we really need to, especially when we are leveling up, because we're going to be all energetic anyway, right? You have people in different dimensions who literally live in a lot of different dimensions. Like sometimes dead people don't see each other. Like, I don't know if you guys know that, but there'll be a lot of dead people around, and they can see you, but they don't see each other. And I'm like, what is going on here? Like, what is this? But we will be able to do it. The veil will be so thin that you're going to be able to see through everything. And we can have, as I always say, heaven on earth. That's what's going to be here, heaven on earth, because you're going to have grandma who passed over right with you, still here. Everybody's going to be here together. But we need to shift to work to get to that point. So, whew, that was a lot. I have to come back to work tonight for sessions, but I definitely wanted to come in. I wanted to say hi. I wanted to peek my head in. I should be in here more often because my kids are on the virtual learning. So that gives me time to actually leave and be here during the day. It's like they're in separate portals from different dimensions. There's a lot of different, there's so many different beings and different dimensions and different things out there. Something like sometimes I'm in session and I'll see things that I'm like, what planet did that come from? How did that thing get here? What is it called? Never seen anything like that. Because a lot of people just assume that it's just people here and there's just dead people and that's it. But there's a lot, there's like a whole big kit and caboodle in between. Yeah, from different portals, from different places that enter in through black holes in our universe that come here. And there's a lot of them that are found in the woods too. You know, people do magic and spirits and spells and a lot of other stuff too. So I don't pretend to know everything, but I know a lot. So whatever I do know, I'm happy to share with you. It's just a very vast, big environment out there than what we may know already. But I think we're going to get to know it soon. So, hello, Amanda. Hello. All right, so I'm going to jump off here. That one was a really informational class. The second one, I'm going to do the second one in a few days. That's more fun. That's more fun. It's not just all talk. But I just wanted to get down the foundation of what shamanism is and what crystal Reiki is. And then that way we know going forward of how things are set and what is the medicine wheel and what does the medicine wheel do and how to use it for your own soul growth. Whew, doggy. So that is it. I will see you guys in a few days. And if you have any questions at all, y'all know where to find me. Just message me. I'm here. I'm around. But I'm very happy to be here, and I will be here more often. More often. I'll see you guys in a few days. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.